Hello, everybody, wherever you may be. My name's Larry. My call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. Welcome back to my shack. This is Ham Radio Live, show 52. Have you ever thought about being able to communicate with people in other countries or continents, or maybe in other states? Are you a competitive person that likes to compete in different things, especially scientific things? Have you ever thought about being a ham radio operator? It's fun. It's an amazing hobby, and it's something that you can carry on with you your whole life, and you don't need to be young to learn it, okay? Good news today. I'm very proud and very thrilled to announce that today, my father-in-law, Kilo November 6, India Ocean Papa, for those that don't do ham radio, that's his call sign. So that would be KN6IOP, which is given to him from the Federal Communications Commission. Today was able to successfully upgrade from the technician class to general. So proud of him. Way to go, Dad. You know, that's the first success story from the channel that I can share with you. And I'm truly humbled to tell you that, because that's why we came. I came because I saw my father-in-law struggling so much with his ham radio test. And he kept telling me, Larry, I don't retain things very well. I'm not young anymore. I mean, he's in his 80s. So all this, all these excuses. And I kept encouraging him, Dad, you can do this. I know you can. You've wanted it so long, you can do it. Look, he just did it. If he can do it and I can do it, you can do it. You can talk to people in different countries, different states, make some wonderful friends right from the comfort of your own home. All you have to do is get yourself a ham radio license. This channel exists to help people to do just that. I hope that this video and the others that are in this series help you, because the whole idea here is that we get you on the air. We want you to get on the air because this is such a wonderful hobby. And if this was the 1950s, more people would know about it. But because we're now in the digital age and so many people use, cell phones, text messaging and all that, it's kind of fallen off a little bit. And that's too bad, because the magic of ham radio still exists just as it did in the 1950s, only the radios are a lot better. So you can have a lot of fun. So we welcome you to the channel. I hope you'll stick around a little while, and we would be honored if you would. We'll give you some test questions if you are a technician or you'd like to study to become a general. We'll give you some general test questions today that are currently on the FCC examination. They'll be worded exactly as they are on the test, and even the wrong answers and the right answers worded exactly as they are on the test. So part of what I'll do tonight is I'll help to explain why they are that way. And then once we're finished with that segment, we'll head over to the ham radio and we'll see exactly if we can maybe make some of those long distance calls, the ones that are, there's my soda, there's the rig, and there's me. All right. So we'll see if we can make maybe a few long distance calls. Good time to try and reach down to Australia or the South Pacific to show you what ham radio really is. Welcome to the show, guys and gals. Hey, some channel news, good stuff. Again, want to remind you, Flex Radio Systems. Flex is located here in the United States, down in Texas. Michael Walker from Flex Radio will be joining us live on Thursday. That's October 15th at 20 Zulu, which means basically 8 p.m. in London, but on the Pacific time zone, if you're in the United States here, that'll be 12 noon, okay? He'll be here to answer questions about Flex Radio, and he'll be taking your questions as well. So please join us for Mike Walker. Then a week after that, we've got a representative from Chameleon Antennas coming. Plus, we have a hex beam coming. It's the brand new MFJ 1848. Now, this is upgraded from the 1846 because it includes 30 and 40 meters. This is pretty cool. So we're very grateful for the opportunity to have this opportunity to show you how it's built and then show you how well it works. So Thanks to MFJ for the opportunity to review it, and we're looking very much forward to showing you not only its assembly, but also its use on the air. A hex beam that you can put on your property, even if you're on a small property like I am. Yes, you can do it, and for far less than you might imagine. Really. Then also, remember, special event station out of Australia, Victor Kilo 65, polio free Africa. That's the call. Get a cool QSO card. For folks that aren't hams, customarily, when you make a contact with someone, it's not so much today as it used to be, but there's many hams that still do it. They will send QSL cards, meaning it's like a postcard saying we had a conversation together on the air. It's pretty cool. And you can get a great QSL card from Australia regarding the Africa polio-free Africa, from Australia, from the polio-free Africa celebration. It's through Rotary International. They're all over the world, but this is an Australian thing. I think it's pretty cool. Here's the continent of Australia celebrating the continent of Africa being polio-free. Want to thank Bill, who is a dear friend down in Australia, for telling us that. Bill's call sign down there is Victor Kilo 4 Zulu Delta. So, Bill, thanks again for that information. We'll do our best to keep talking to the folks about that. That special event station starts October 24th, should run through about November 24th, okay? Let's go over some test questions tonight. We're going to go over some general questions. This is the second of 3 exams in the United States. When you get to the general license, you get about 97% of all the frequencies to use. So this is a very important test to pass. Once you get to general, you pretty much have almost everything you can work on the ham bands, okay? So we'll do a few questions here tonight. We'll answer them and tell you why. It's one thing to memorize the answers. It's another thing to learn why it's the right answer, okay? First question from the general exam. In the Pactor protocol, what is meant by NAK response to a transmitted packet? Now, before we go too far here, some people are going, what? Pactor? What is that? Think of it like a text message that you use, but you send it over a ham radio. That's the easiest way I can describe this to you. Pactor is a combination of a couple of earlier digital modes. One of them was packet radio. The other was called amateur teleprinting over radio. Yeah, it's a long one. AMTOR. So they just combined the two of them, right? Pactor and AMTOR. So it became Pactor. And essentially, again, it's like sending a text message, but you're using a ham radio to do it. So imagine sending a message to someone in a distant land through your computer, and being able to send it out through your ham radio. That's the best way to describe it. So the answers given here are, if you get an NAK response from the station that you've sent your Pactor message to, does the NAK response mean A, the receiver is requesting the packet be retransmitted, B, the receiver is reporting the packet was received without error, C, the receiver is busy decoding the packet, or D, the entire file has been received correctly? The answer is A. The receiver is requesting the packet to be retransmitted. Now, this is simply a very quick way from the receiving station that you sent the message to say, send it again. Without getting too into detail, just send it again. NAK. How I remembered it on the test was I thought of the words not okay, even though there's an A there. That was just my way of understanding it. So if you get a response that's not received properly, all right, that means you need to retransmit it, okay? That means NAK. So, not okay. Think of it that way. Simple way to remember that one. Kind of simple. All right, next question. Again, this on the current general exam in the United States. The question is, what is the purpose of a speech processor as used in a modern transceiver? Speech processors, here's a good example. Listen to my voice. Okay, listen what I'm going to do here. You're going to hear me all of a sudden get a lot more full and pretty bassy. Okay, so you hear me coming in, hear me starting to come in now. Now you hear me starting to drop back out. Now I'm coming back in and back out. That's a great example of processing in a ham radio. That's really how it works. It adds a little more punch to your broadcast. It doesn't necessarily turn your microphone up. It just adds more power, more depth to your station, to your voice. Okay. So what's the purpose of it in a ham radio? A, increase the intelligibility of transmitted phone signals during poor conditions. Now, for people who aren't ham operators or want to be a ham operator, phone means microphone. Okay. So I don't want to confuse people to think it's a telephone or something. All right. B, increase transmitter base response for a more natural sounding SSB signal. C, prevent distortion of voice signals. Or D, decrease high frequency voice output to prevent out of band operation. The answer is A. It increases the intelligibility of your transmitted voice on a microphone during poor conditions. It gives you a little more punch. That's the best way to put it. So remember, a speech processor in most modern radios, and these go back a ways. I mean, these are 20 years old and older radios that have speech processors in them. So basically, you use it to the point where you're getting a little more punch. But if you overdrive it, one thing I will tell you, be very careful of using too much processing. If you do, you're going to end up having what's called distortion. It's really bad. Your signal will come off as just not very clear. It's very distorted. So be careful how you run your processor. A good way to check is when you do on-air testing. Like yesterday, we talked about on-air testing. You give your call sign, right? If you're checking your processing to see, hear how your microphone sounds, and you're listening maybe on a web SDR on your phone, you can do that and check your processing. Once you start to hear a little bit of distortion in your voice, bring it back a little bit. That's just a real good way to set your processing and be able to sound good on the air for everybody else to enjoy your signal. Okay? Next question. What is the advantage of a digital voltmeter as compared to an analog one? Now keep in mind, the word analog, for folks that might not know, is the old needle. So like a needle meter versus a digital readout. Okay? The four questions that are given, the four answers I should say, they're better for measuring computer circuits, or B, better for radio frequency, which is RF, radio frequency measurements. C, better precision for most uses, or D, faster response. Now, this can be a confusing one for folks, okay? The answer is better precision for most uses, and the reason why is because when you use a digital voltmeter, you're going to get a pretty precise reading, where if you're using an analog one, you're reading the needle on the analog meter, and you're kind of close, but you're not exactly sure what the precise measurement really is. So that's why you would use it for better precision, okay? Faster response, maybe. I mean, not necessarily. Analogs are pretty good. Better for RF measurements? No, they're both the same. And better for measuring computer circuits? No, they're simply better precision for most cases, okay? And you kind of saw a little bit of the next question that I got in there. I'll just kind of cover that real quick. It's just a quick answer for you. What's the effect on an audio device or telephone system? So if you have like a home stereo system, right, or a telephone, if there is interference from a nearby CW transmitter. Now, for folks who are not familiar with the term CW, it means Morse code, okay? So you're using the Morse code key, you're sending signals out over the air. Typically, the effect is over a telephone or over like a home stereo system, you're going to hear on and off humming or clicking. That's the noise you'll hear in the receiver of the phone, or you'll all of a sudden be watching your favorite movie and all of a sudden Marty McFly is about to really give Biff the big one, and then click, 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 click. Yeah, All right, so there's your answer there. Free answer for the general. There you go. Next question. Which of the following is is a use for the IF shift control on a receiver? All right. IF means incoming frequency. It's part of the mixing chain of the audio receiver of ham radios, okay? So the IF shift control. The answers given are A, to avoid interference from stations very close to the received frequency, B, to change frequency rapidly, C, to permit listening on a different frequency from that on which you are transmitting, or D, to tune in stations that are slightly off frequency without changing your transmit frequency. Now, really, in this one, okay, the answer is A, but C and D are kind of close. They're kind of close, okay? C is actually called working split, okay? You're really transmitting on one frequency, but listening on a different one. It's totally different. That's not an IF shift control issue. That's simply working split, where your radio is listening on one frequency and you're transmitting on another. Okay, same thing with D. It's basically the same thing. It's just worded differently. To tune in stations that are slightly off frequency without changing your transmit frequency. All right, the key there is slightly off frequency. I get it, but it's kind of the same as split. The B question answer here, to change the frequency rapidly, isn't correct. IF shift controls, what they do essentially is, let's say, for example, you're broadcasting at 7.150. Your microphone's working great, and the person you're talking to is coming back real good. And then somebody decides to come in on, say, 7.152. Remember, it's a lower sideband signal. So because it's a lower sideband, what's going to happen is your frequency is here, and then down 3 kilohertz comes their signal. So if they're at 7.152 and you're at 7.150, part of their signal's going right on top of your received signal of the other station. The IF shift control helps your receiver to move away from that interfering signal. Think of it that way. It's kind of like closing a Venetian blind a little bit so it's not so bright. It moves the frequency over a little bit away from the interfering signal. That's what IF shift does. So there you go. Next question. Again, this is the current general exam in the United States. What makes HF scatter signals often sound distorted? This is an interesting question because a lot of people don't work E-skip. Typically it's common on 6, sometimes 10, but typically 6 or 10 meters. But here are the possible answers. HF scatter signals often sound distorted. Now, HF scatter, the definition of that really is that it's coming off the ionosphere of the atmosphere, but the ionosphere isn't stable. All right? So the ionosphere might hit a cloud, okay? Because like our clouds that we see, you see the clouds in the sky, right? And they're moving around. Well, in the ionosphere, occasionally, especially during summer and winter, there are clouds of ions as well, heavily concentrated ions traveling through the ionosphere. Now, occasionally, you can hit those clouds and they will work you a really good distance sometimes. Sometimes they do sound distorted, however, and here's the reason why. Okay. The first answer says the ionospheric layer involved is unstable. Yeah, it is. B, ground waves are absorbing much of the signal. Nope, that's not it. C, the E region is not present. That'd be the E region of the ionosphere, and that's present. Okay, it's always there. The answer is D. Energy is scattered into the skip zone through several different radio wave paths, okay? Now, for this, I'm going to have to maybe draw you something real quick because it'll help to explain it a little bit better, hopefully, okay? So if you have an HF signal and you're working, say, 6 meters, and you're working E-skip, okay, you're going to have an area in the ionosphere and it's going to be hitting it. And then what it does, because it's an unstable area of the ionosphere, is it's going to essentially come in like right here, right? Comes in right there, okay? And then when it hits that cloud right here, it's going to come out of there in different directions. So that level of the ionosphere, that E-skip cloud, tends to just make it go a lot of different places at one time. That can distort the receiver on the other end that hears it. That's why, okay? So remember, the ionosphere, especially peak of summer to a little bit past, peak of winter to a little bit past, can have what's called E-skip, or heavy clouds of ionosphere from within the ionosphere of the country, of the world, excuse me. So when that happens, transmit signal hits it, hits that skip layer there that's filled, it's supercharged with ions. It charges it so much that it literally just shoots it out all over the place. That's why they sound distorted, okay? Next question for the general exam on the FCC test. What effect does a high sunspot number have on radio communications? Right now, we're dealing with this problem because we don't have a high sunspot cycle. We just don't. We're at the low part of the sunspot cycle. A sunspot cycle, folks, it lasts 11 years, okay? So every 11 years, the sun will go through a complete cycle of sunspots. Why do sunspots matter? The reason they matter is because, like the previous question talked about, E-skip, because the ionosphere that circles the Earth is filled with ions. When the sun hits those ions, it charges them up. The radio signal hits the ionosphere. The ions vibrate quickly, and it sends the radio signal back to Earth. That's called skip. So when you're dealing with this question, it's important to understand that principle first. That's how our signals work. So higher sunspot cycles supercharge the ionosphere even more. Now that sounds strange, doesn't it? You'd think if there were sunspots, there wouldn't be as much radiation coming from the sun to charge the ionosphere. But actually, it's the exact opposite. When you have a lot of sunspots, for example, in the peak of the last sunspot cycle, we were at about 119 sunspots on the face, on the disk, that we see of the sun at one time. All right. So those 119 sunspots really supercharge the ionosphere. It makes it much stronger. So what it means is our propagation, or our skip ability, because our radio waves don't go line of sight on HF, they go straight up to the ionosphere. Not like straight up, but they go on an angle, a steady angle out. The lower the angle, the farther you'll go. That's why you want a low takeoff angle on your antenna. But the point is, the ionosphere is what makes it work. Now, when you have a high amount of sunspots, propagation improves dramatically. All right? So that's why C is the answer. A says high-frequency radio signals become weak and distorted. That's not what happens. B, frequencies above 300 megahertz become usable for long-distance communication. It's not it either. C, long-distance communication in the upper HF and lower VHF range is enhanced. That's the correct answer. D, microwave communications become unstable. No, it has nothing to do with that. Microwave signals are line of sight. We're talking about signals that use the ionosphere of the atmosphere. And keep in mind, too, it's not just the upper HF bands that are affected. They all are. But the difference is, all of a sudden, like right now, 20 meters and 15, 12, okay, they're daytime frequencies for the most part right now. When the sunspot cycle returns right about 2024, 2025, you're going to find 20 meters, 15, 12, maybe even 10 usable at night as well, because the sunspots have put so much energy into the ionosphere that it makes long wave skip possible. You can contact a farther station. You can, maybe right now you can work Australia, but you might be able to work Africa. That's how it works. So sunspots, the more the better for HF. It helps us to make contacts. That's the truth. Last question for this show. What frequency should be used to send a distress call? Now this one is pretty easy, okay? But it can confuse some folks. A, whichever frequency has the best chance of communicating the distress message. B, only frequencies authorized for races or ARRL stations. For those that aren't hams, races and ARRLs are emergency communication groups. They're hams that have gotten together to help in case of emergency for community, for basically MCOM. They're going to do emergency communication, but it'll be coordinated within their group. Pretty good people, okay? So C, only frequencies that are within your operating privileges, or D, only frequencies used by police, fire, or emergency medical services. See, that's one that can confuse someone who doesn't know, all right? If you have a license, you can use any frequency that has the best chance to communicate your distress message, because emergencies take priority in amateur radio. It's part of the reason we exist. When there's a hurricane, for example, like there is right now in Louisiana, you have an amazing amount of people down there who are using their ham radios even without power, because they have the ability to use batteries for their radios to communicate to maybe local fire, police, medical, what's going on, okay? Because when the power goes out, a lot of hams still have power because they either have a generator or they have a battery system set for their radios. So it allows them to be in places where emergency personnel can't reach people because the phones aren't working, the cell phone towers are down because there's no power, but that ham radio is the communication link into that distressed area. So again, this last question, it's really important. There's lots of good answers here. They really are. And they can really get you, especially C, because you may think, well, geez, I'm not authorized to work on this frequency. No. When it's an emergency, use the best frequency you can to get that message out, because you're going to get some help. Ham radio is about helping other people. All right? All right. Good stuff coming. The hex beam's on the way. Told you about the VK special station, VK6.5, Polio Free Africa. And again, Mike Walker from Flex Radio, ta-da, is coming on Thursday, 20 Zulu. That's noon Pacific. Let's take a look at the rig cam, see if we can maybe work a little DX tonight. Excuse me. I had this thing all set up. Thanks for the thumbs up. It's like, get the radio on. And I know that's the favorite part. And it's cool to make contacts. It is. And part of this is because the channel was set up to help people get their license. It's important to get those questions out because we want more people on the air. All right. We're going to check frequency, make sure it's available. And I'm also going to, tonight, give one other question that is on the test. We're going to do it in a practical way because there are 2 CQ calls. Actually 3 if you consider emergency. Now, right now you can hear a little bit of a signal. Just a little bit. So I don't need to even make a call to ask if the frequency is available. I can hear it. Move up. I see one just on the edge. We'll go 1 kilohertz up, and I don't see anything on my pen adapter screen. We'll tune real quick, make sure we're good to go. And what we'll do first, and this is for folks who aren't hams, proper practice is to see if the frequency is available. If somebody comes back saying no, then we move. It's pretty simple, but we don't take someone's frequency away from them.
Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November.
I need to figure out why it's doing that again, because I don't know why it is. I just don't know why.
Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November.
Wow, that was just nasty sounding. Ew. I'm sorry, guys. We need to figure out what is going on there. It's coming from the processing gear, so it's picking up the transmitter through the processing. I don't want to lose that because then you're not going to hear me. Odd that it's doing that again. Very odd.
CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQDX and listening.
Oh, I don't like that, guys. I don't like that sound. We've done so many shows without that feedback, and why it's here, I don't know. Just a second. I'm going to try a few things here. You're going to hear a little different signal out of this. So just a second. We're going to change over here.
Kilo 7 Hotel November testing.
We're going to go right to a
Test transmission. Just to a
test, and we'll see if we can
hopefully figure out the source of this problem. Just a second.
Get down the gain. Just a second. Kilo 7 Hotel November testing. That's much better. Much better. Okay. You guys, I hope, can hear me. If you can, super, because I'm hoping you can. I just made a pretty big, significant change to the processing. I know I do sound different, and I'm sorry for that, but see if I can make it sound a little smoother real quick on the fly, and we'll hopefully make it sound a little better on your end, okay? Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Couldn't leave you like that. Not sounding that bad. Sorry, guys. CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Calling CQDX. CQDX. Hello, DX. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Calling CQDX. Live on Ham Radio Live on YouTube and listening. And just so you see what I do when we do this, what I typically will do, move to camera 3 real quick. I'll typically at this point move the soda. Sorry, forgot about that. I'll typically take a piece of paper up here and I'll grab a pen so I can write their call sign. That's how I start every QSO. And then from there, enter it into the computer. Pretty simple stuff. It's just the way I work. It's not the perfect way, but we'll see if we can get somebody working a different country now. That's what CQDX is about. CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Calling CQDX. CQDX, hello DX. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Live on YouTube's Ham Radio Live. Calling CQDX and listening. And, like I've said a million times, ham radio's like fishing. You hope you can catch one. We'll see. CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Calling CQDX. CQDX, hello DX. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Live on YouTube, Ham Radio Live. calling CQDX and listening. Thought maybe I had someone there, just not quite. We'll give it 2 more shots. CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray, this is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, calling CQDX. CQDX, hello DX, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, live on YouTube, calling CQDX and listening. Sometimes widening out just a little bit will help. We'll try one last call, and then we'll chase. We'll find somebody. CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQDX. CQDX, hello DX, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, calling CQDX, live on YouTube and listening. Now, I showed you the power meter there for a reason, and I'll explain in just a moment. We'll give one more try. CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQDX. CQDX, CQ Delta X-ray, live on Ham Radio Live on YouTube. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQDX and listening. All right, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. Now, the reason I showed you the power meter there was because this radio is rated for 200 watts. This is the Yaesu 101 MP. It's right here. This is a radio that's set for 200 watts of transmit power, all right? Now, 200 watts, it's important to understand, means peak envelope power, meaning that's the most it's going to produce on its peaks when you're broadcasting. It's not going to be 200 watts all the time, meaning you don't key the microphone up. And this is for new hams, folks that maybe don't understand ham radio. When you key up a microphone on even a 100 watt transmitter or a 200 watt, you'll see the power meter move, but it's not going to reach 200. Again, please.
Alpha Hotel.
I'm sorry, come back again, please.
Okay. Alpha Henry 6 Victoria. AH6V.
Alpha Hotel 6V. How are things in the islands tonight?
Terrific. The Koki frogs are singing and all is good. Over.
Well, aloha to you, my friend. Thanks for the pickup. I appreciate it. You're live on YouTube on Ham Radio Live. We'll send you a copy of the YouTube show to your to your email on QRZ. I'm using a Yaesu 101 MP here off of a high gain AV680 high gain vertical. It's 33 feet up and running 200 watts tonight. You're 5'9" here into Oregon. My QTH is Independence, Oregon, about 65 miles southwest of Portland. QSL?
Terrific. Okay. You're in Oregon. Well, I'm on Big Island on the northeast side, just north of Hilo. We're in a rainforest, and it's a very pleasant night. My name is Jeremy, and I copy you about, I don't know, 5 and 9 right now. Very good signal. So, K7HN, this is AH6V. Go ahead.
Mahalo, my friend. Thank you for that. Big Island, oh my goodness. You're giving me dreams of surf and
birds and the beautiful smells of the flowers. Oh, boy, Jeremy, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. What was the weather like today on the Big Island? Over?
Well, it depends on what side you're on, but in this case, we had a lot of sun today, and very pleasant. They got up to about 85, and at sunrise it was about 58. Very pleasant. Over.
Roger that. Yeah, we're at the season change now. Just started raining yesterday, so we're low 60s during the day and we'll hit low 40s at night. So, yeah, it's time to wish of island breezes for sure. What are you using for your equipment there tonight, Jeremy? Over?
Well, it starts with the sun, actually, and it comes into the solar panels and charges up the batteries. So it's a 12-volt power station. I'm using a TS480 exciter and an old Metron MA1000. It's a big old black brick. It runs directly off 12 volts, and it makes about 400 watts. And we're putting that to a Johnson matchbox, the old link couple type, and the ladder line going up the side to a lazy H that is set up for 17 meters. But down here, just back to you there. What's your name, by the way?
AH6V
K7HN, AH6V.
K7HN. Jeremy, my name is Larry. That's Lima Alpha Romeo Romeo Yankee. And wow, what a great station. So you're totally running solar, is that right? So you're going through solar and then into batteries and then being able to run it 24/7 that way, is that correct?
Yes, it is. And actually, the question comes to me frequently is, well, how long can I run the station? And the operator gets tired before the battery does. Over.
That's funny. And that makes total sense too. That's great. So you're running you're over 400 watts and you're using the sun. That is just the coolest thing ever. Wow. Holy cow. So now, I may have misunderstood you, Jeremy. Are you on the Kona side or on the Hilo side? Over?
Yeah, Hilo side. Actually, I'm looking right directly down to the ocean, looking northeast about 60 degrees, the beam angle of this antenna. So it's coming right through the middle of the U.S.
Very good. Yeah, well, you got a great signal. No fade whatsoever. Great signal, Jeremy. You sound great. I'm jealous as heck. My goodness. I'd be, you could put me on Kahualave. I'd be happy there. I wouldn't have much water, but I'd still be happy there. Any place in the islands is good for me. Wow, good stuff. Well, Jeremy, I'm going to send you a copy of this on YouTube. I appreciate you spending some time with me. That's great, and I know the viewers like that as well. This is a nice QSO to speak with someone almost in the middle of the Pacific who's as nice as you. So, Jeremy, thank you for that. I'll wait for your final. Alpha Henry 6 Victor, Kilo 7 Hotel November. All the best from the Northwest. God bless you, man, and thank you, Jeremy.
Okay, terrific, Larry. Thank you for that. Aloha from Big Island, and hopefully in the future we'll use shorter wavelengths, like 10 meters or 6 meters. I think in a couple more years it's going to happen. All the best to you there, Larry. 73, K7HN, this is AH6V. Bye-bye.
Good night, Jeremy. QSL. Kilo 7 Hotel November. Anyone else still on frequency? Over. Anyone else still on frequency? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. All right. How long we run? All right, here. We're at 45. All right, 45. Let's see if we can grab one more real quick. We'll chase. Get you the rig. Sorry, guys. I didn't have you on the rig. My fault. So, good propagation into Hawaii. That's nice. You see the short wave stations there. They're hopping. This is the Triple H net. By the way, Channel News, we will be live with the Triple H net. We'll be explaining nets for prospective hams or new hams, explaining what nets are like. And we're going to be joining the Triple H net on Tuesday evening. That's this coming Tuesday. And that will start at 11 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. So 11 Pacific. So that means it's going to be, what is that? 7 Zulu, I believe. Yeah. 7 Zulu technically on that side. It'll be Wednesday, but Tuesday night Pacific, 11 p.m. Triple H net. You can contact people from different states. They have it very well set up. This is a great net. We'll take a look quickly on 80. Good signal here. No.
On the 7300, and so I can't really be a good judge on this radio.
Okay.
Let me tune real quick. We'll just tune this one real quick. This is 80 meters, and I have an antenna out there that's close. I don't think it'll tune this, but we can give it a shot. No, it won't tune it. We'll just have to auto-tune it. And there we go. Thank you, MFJ998. I love this tuner.
Better difference. So I'm 2.4 wide. It changed from whatever it was. So I should probably be able to go 3 wide and listen.
Oh, you can go 3.6 wide on receive. Yeah, you got to go into your filters down below. And
now, one thing I will say, on 80 meters, typically people get to know each other and talk to each other, kind of like nets. They just get together and they hang out, okay? Sure. So it's not as easy to break into these conversations just for a quick one like this, but we'll try without being rude, okay?
If I hold it down, it'll bring up another menu, but I'm on the 2.9 BW, but it says...
Okay, that's your transmit. That would be in your... what do they call it? Not settings, but...
yeah, they're troubleshooting a problem. Don't want to get involved with that one. I stay away from 3905. Pretty weak. Let's do this. I want to try top band. Pretty late. Running on 160. Yeah, I'm not going to work there. So back to 80 real quick. See someone there. And typically when you see a signal like this, okay, it's, in this case, typically it's someone that's running FT8. And that's what you see here. You see the dual lines here. That's a digital mode. We talked about Pactor earlier. FT8's a different mode than that for new hams. It's something that you really don't do anything with. The computer automatically sends a transmit signal to your radio, then it picks up the signal from your radio from distant stations. It's really cool. Really a neat way to communicate. It's an amazing thing. The guy actually who started that is literally a genius. I believe he's a Princeton guy, just a smart guy. Smart as a whip. I don't want to mess the conversation with the guys trying to troubleshoot his radio. So there seems to be 2 signals up here.
PBT to get rid of it. What was weird?
That's one of them. That person's tuning. So we will check 40 real quick, last call. And then if we can't, we'll just call it a night. That's okay. Nice call to the Big Island tonight. Again, want to thank Jeremy. His call sign is Alpha Hotel 6 Victoria. That's pretty cool. That's about, that's about 2,500 miles or so. We'll check in a moment. Just getting the power down. And you do this when you use an auto tuner. You just tune at a lower power. That's all. And then, of course, you see the waterfall appear again because everything is clear. You can see it much easier. Contest weekend, the Arizona QSO party went pretty well. In fact, my father-in-law, brand new general licensee, his first call was to the contest station in Arizona. I told him, Dad, if you were contesting, that's worth 100 points. Good for you. Now, what you just saw, that line, typically that's a lightning strike somewhere. It's not here, but it's within the frequency that we're hearing, the band we're hearing on, excuse me. Pretty weak, guys. It's pretty weak. All right, so what we'll do, let me go ahead and here's something interesting. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. There. Here's a great example of knowing your band plan, all right? This is a signal. It's a phone signal, but it's at 7122. The 40-meter band, it ends in the United States at 7.125. So you shouldn't be using a microphone below this segment. So when you see this, it can be from another country, but you should never respond to it or try and call it. And the reason why is because it's outside what's called the band plan, okay? Just good practice. So we want to be above 7128 because we're on lower side band. We work 3 down, okay? So that's how it works. See if we'll grab something maybe if we can. If we can't, we'll call it. A lot of RFI right there. And that's going to be pretty hard for y'all to understand there. All right. So you know what? I think it's a good time we'll close the show because the propagation right now will work, obviously, but there's not a ton of people on right now, and we'll just be searching forever, and the video will run too long. Don't want to do that. So show 52 made a nice call. Thank you again, Jeremy. Jeremy's call sign, Alpha Hotel 6 Victor. And that's one of the giveaways in amateur radio. When you see a 6 preceded by an H, okay, that is Hawaii. So that's why we grabbed that pretty quick because, you know, it's a Hawaii call. Of course, we'd take a call from Hawaii. That's a great one. Love to work the folks in the island. They're good, friendly folks. And why wouldn't they be? Jeremy is in a town called Ninole, Hawaii. So he's on the Big Island, and that was just a joy. 100% power from the sun. How cool is that? Guy just running his gear from the sun, and what better place to do that than in Hawaii, right? I mean, why not? So Jeremy and I had a nice conversation. I hope you enjoyed that. He got to talk about his station a little bit and, you know, be able to tell us how he does it. He said he'll run out of energy before the station does. That's pretty cool. That QSO, by the way, was a total of 2,510 miles. So 2,510 miles on 200 watts through a vertical antenna at 33 feet. So, folks, if you'd love to be in ham radio, please contact your local ham radio club, or if you're in the United States and don't know where to find one, get a hold of the American Radio Relay League. That's ARRL.org. They'll be happy to get you close to a radio club that will help you get on the air, because we do want you on the air. That's a lot of fun to be able to talk to people in Hawaii and a lot of other places as well. Ham radio lets you do that. We hope you enjoyed the show. Next time, we'll see what we can do for some QSOs, as well as go over some questions on the extra exam. Hope you'll join us. That'll be on show 53. Until then, thank you for being here. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful evening. And thanks for watching Ham Radio Live. Goodbye, everybody.